Hey, it's your friend and host, Courtney Turek, and welcome to Bold Moves, Confident Choices, the podcast where we own our path, make fearless decisions, and get real about what it takes to turn bold ideas into reality. Today's guest, I had the honor of meeting, at a fabulous nonprofit event in New York City called Rio del Sol. I walked away from this experience where our guest was the keynote speaker and was deeply impacted. This individual is a champion for human connection in an era of disconnection. His name is Chris Schembra. He is the founder of the 747 Gratitude Experience, a Wall Street Journal best-selling author, and what USA Today calls their gratitude guru. From Microsoft and Google to the US Navy, he's helped thousands of leaders and teams build workplaces and lives that are more joyful, resilient, and human. So get ready, because Chris is here to show us why gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's the strategy for success. So without further ado, I want to welcome you all to my friend, Chris Schembra.
Oh, Courtney, thank you for that. And shout out to Chasen and Peter and Scott McGregor and Melissa Cohen and Lisa Joyce for welcoming us to that nonprofit event down in Soho, New York City, where I had the opportunity to meet you. And your husband was there, I believe. And such a wonderful group of people that are doing God's great work, supporting a mission that's so important in our world, entrepreneurship in Latin America. So it was a great joy to participate.
It was truly incredible, Chris. And for everyone out there, what was really just amazing about Chris's keynote, he had lost his voice. So, Chris, you put together this amazing keynote all through using AI as your voice to share with us your mission. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I just got back from a trip abroad where I contracted the flu, and flu turned into laryngitis, turned into a vocal infection, turned into a lot of things. And by the time that keynote came for that nonprofit event, I legit had no voice for about 21 days in a row. And 11labs.io was the platform that I used to I imported dozens of hours of my voice into 11 Labs on podcasts and recordings. And so it created a Chris Schembra voice option in 11 Labs. And I got to write out my entire keynote in like 40 different chunks and just keep pressing play throughout the course of the keynote to say what I wanted to say. I'm grateful for technology to allow us to be able to show up and have an impact on audiences, even when we're going through health challenges. So it was a stretch to do it, but it worked. And we did a couple other events in March. We had to cancel 6 out of 9 events in March, but the 3 that we did do were, driven by AI.
It's unbelievable when you think of what technology can do today. And Chris, I still walked away with that experience, and you really impacted my life and changing the way that I thought about gratitude. And I'm so appreciative to that.
Wow. The way you show up in the world with your curiosity and your questions and your ability to maintain a commitment to a positive impact, regardless of the hard times you're going through, is an inspiration to so many people. And I'm so excited to see where you go with this podcast and your coaching and your sales and so many beautiful things you're bringing into the world.
Thanks so much, Chris. And this podcast is actually about you, not me. So we want to know about you, Chris. Can you just share a little bit more about yourself before we jump into some fun questions?
Sure. Born and raised on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Went off to college until I got kicked out, thrown in jail, shipped off to multiple stints in rehab. Lived on a glacier in Patagonia for a little bit. Became a boat captain, a kayak tour guide, and a stand-up paddleboard instructor. And then I built a video production company and then moved to New York City, found a mentor who was 74 years old when I was 24 years old. I got my first job in New York City because this older fella, Tony Lobianco, saw how good I was at asking questions to a rock. And that led to a 4.5-year mentorship, partnership. I ended up running his production company And him and I traveled around the world producing theatrical productions, Broadway, off Broadway, and touring. And then, long story short, I invented a pasta sauce recipe. And on July 15th, 2015, I decided to feed this little pasta sauce to some people to see if it's even good or not. And I hosted a dinner party. And at that dinner, July 15th, 2015, we worked together to create the meal. We had a shared group experience. We had some pretty good wine, ate some pretty good food. But at 7:47 p.m., that very first night, I paused all dinner table conversation and I asked a very simple question. If you could give credit or thanks to one person in your life that you don't give enough credit or thanks to, or that you've never thought to thank, who would that be? Courtney, we asked that question, watched a lot of people take a deep breath, sat back in their chair, pondered, and then they leaned in. We went around the table one by one, popcorn style. We each took a few minutes to answer that gratitude question. From the stories, Courtney, you've seen it. They were amazing.
Yes.
A few people cried. They love the sauce. I've been hosting dinner parties ever since. That's my story.
Amazing. I mean, Chris, listening to your story, and I've experienced your keynote, I've experienced you putting us through the exercise of gratitude. Just hearing you reshare your story brought chills to me and tears to my eyes again. Because that moment that you had us reflect on that question was really powerful for me. And it caused me to go give gratitude to that person in my life. And this funny thing, it was so hard to do in the weirdest way, Chris. But I am so glad I did it. And it's all because of you.
Well, who did you think of and what was so hard about that?
Chris, here we go again. Now I think we're flipping the script because just even getting ready to tell you who it was and why brings tears to my eyes. But it was my mom. And I'm where I'm at today because of her and the belief she had in me. And she always was there to support me in the highs and lows and so much more that I won't go in today. But making sure I told her that and had that moment with her, yeah, that was special.
How did she receive it?
She was shocked. She didn't anticipate me going into this in-depth moment we experienced together. But from the moment I started talking to her, the tears just started pouring down my face. And it was hard to even get the words out. And we all think gratitude's easy. Like I tell people, thank you all the time. But how much do you really put that impact behind it, that feeling that you need to share with the people in your life who you love and you have gratitude for?
What's your mom's name?
Pam.
Cheers to you, Pam.
Yes. Cheers to you, Pam. She's an incredible woman, and I hope she realizes how special she is.
What's one thing about Pam that you carry forward in how you lead, live, sell, coach, question, love, parent, whatever?
Kindness. She is the most kind human in this world. She's never met a stranger she hasn't said hello to. She gives, no matter who the person is, all walks of life, that same amount of kindness. And that's what makes her just this gift to so many people. She can light up a room. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool, Chris. So again, thank you. But now on to you some more. We're here to talk about bold moves and confident choices. And you had a vast life. Like you've experienced a ton. Just listening to you share with us your background, I didn't know some of that. And I'm blown away because you're not that old. So you've lived multiple lives. So what would you tell this audience what was your big, bold, pivotal moment in life that took things for you, Chris, to the next level, personally or professionally, or both?
God, again, there's been so many. I'll probably go back to May of 2011, which is a story I really don't share. I probably never publicly shared. I usually share other answers of like, oh, my buddy on Sunday, January 24th, 2016, my buddy taught me that focus equals growth. Or like, I bought a box on wheels so I could start traveling with my pasta sauce. Like, y'all can literally listen to those stories elsewhere. But for some reason, I'll go back to May 2011. I'm an only child, but I have two kind of people who are like little sisters to me, Rachel and Kathleen. Rachel was graduating college and Kathleen was graduating high school. And they were doing a joint kind of graduation party at their childhood home on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. And I was sitting in their backyard and I was talking to their grandmother and a couple other people, but I was talking to their grandmother. And at one point in the conversation, she said, Chris, I think you need to move to New York City. I was like, what? Okay. I thought I'd live on Hilton Head the rest of my life. At that point, I kind of built my entire soul and identity around I grew up here. Yeah, I went off to college and rehab and jail in the Glacier and then came back here and I started businesses here and I was giving tours here and I was going to maybe go into the family business here and here. It's my whole soul and identity. And Mary Jean said, yeah, I think you've outgrown the island. You should move to New York City.
Wow.
And Courtney, I'll never forget, there wasn't an ounce of hesitation in me saying, okay, sounds good. Now, I would then go and sell my boat and hustle for cash and work overtime and still living with my parents. And so I saved up some money. And then I moved to New York City on my 24th birthday, August 31st, 2011, with no job, no college degree, one suitcase, living on my buddy's couch in Brooklyn, right? So that's where it went. But the moment itself was so unique because Mary Jean had never really kind of been vocal ever of like what I should or should not do. There are some very vocal men in that family and in my family who always were the ones to give the advice or opinion. And so the fact that she, in that moment, for the first time ever, said something, I listened.
Yeah.
And for some reason, without a shadow of a doubt, from that moment on, I went all in to her advice for me and never questioned it once. So, yeah, I think the bold decision was to listen to the advice of others, knowing that they had my best interest at heart and not second guess or question it. And
So,
I'm great at second guessing and questioning others.
and many of us are good at
Mhm.
second guessing and questioning ourselves. And that is a really bold comment also to say from your little sister.
That was from her grandma.
Oh, it was from her grandma. Okay. So when you heard that, what was the feeling inside that surfaced for you?
I felt cared for. I think Mary Jean and her mom, Grammy Alice, and then Maria. Mary Jean was always cooking, and I always sat in her kitchen as a kid watching her cook, and all the feasts were always at their house. And yeah, she never really gave advice or opinion from that kitchen or doing her thing in her zone of genius. And she was a brilliant 11-card gin player as well. And so I kind of realized in that moment that she had been watching me from up close my entire life, but kind of kept silent about her opinions on things. And she used, at the time, 23 years of context and history about me into that one single moment. It's kind of like the Teddy Roosevelt quote, like, walk small, but carry a big stick. Or I don't know what
Yeah.
it's all about. Like, don't be loud so that when you actually talk, your voice is heard or something. So that moment, I knew that there was 23 years of context that went into that one single opinion. And I felt that it was customized and it was impactful and it was important. So I felt cared for in the moment. Yeah.
What I'm hearing is cared for and also seen.
Of course. Yeah. Very seen. I mean, it's like she had been watching me. She had been watching me be super hyperactive, get in trouble, bounce around, not stay still, fired from restaurants, fired from painting jobs, trying to figure out all, bankruptcies of companies, all these kind of things that I've been into. She was like, yeah, there's too much energy going on for this little place. You need to go and actually, or you'll probably regret it the rest of your life if you don't. You need to go like spread your wings and at least fail. If you're going to fail on a bigger stage, but at least say you tried. I don't know. I feel like she was kind of telling me all that.
And why New York City, Chris?
I mean, my dad's from New Jersey originally. So he's always had kind of really strong roots up here. He has been involved in a charity event up here in New York City for the last 50 years in honor of the late, great Thurman Munson. He used to sit on the board of the Jesse Owens Awards dinner that was held at the Waldorf every year. Dad always maintained his roots in New York City through the world of sports and philanthropy. And then Rachel and Kathleen's uncle, Mary Jean's son, had played for the New York Rangers my entire childhood. And so we would go up 6 times a year to watch him play and be there for all those important events and retirement ceremonies and all these kind of great things. And so New York had always been just a plane ride away. It wasn't this like foreign object. And I think Mary Jean knew that if her sons and daughters could make it in New York, maybe I could make it in New York.
Yeah. I also heard you say that she referenced you having all this energy.
Yes.
And I think we all know there is an absolute electric energy in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris, I actually am shocked because I thought you were from New York City. You come across as a true New Yorker to me in every sense. So now that you've been in New York, does this feel like home?
There's a region in Italy, to answer your question, called Emilia Romagna. And it stretches from the sea down at Rimini, and it moves to Bologna and Modena and Parma and Reggio Emilia, and it ends just southeast of Milan. And this whole region is known as the land of slow food and fast cars. It's the region where Parmigiano Reggiano is from, which is aged up to 56 months. It's the region where balsamic vinegar is from, which is aged up to 75 years. But it's also the region where Ferrari is from, De Tomaso, Ducati, Maserati, all these really fast things.
Right.
It's the land of slow food and fast cars. That kind of dichotomy, that dialectic, is the idea that two opposing truths can be held at once. You can be a land of slowness and a land of fastness. It's an and, not an or. And to me, that's the beauty and intricacy of life.
Yeah.
New York and Hilton Head are both my homes. Okay.
Yeah.
The slowness, the South Carolina low country, the passing of the tides, the predictability of the moon cycles, gravity, water, the slow growth of an oak, and the fastness of New York City. Both. It's an and. Both are needed for me.
Thank you for sharing that analogy that both can coexist.
Yeah. I've tried a lot of different therapies and rehabs through my years. And one of them is called dialectal behavioral therapy, DBT. And DBT is the study of dialectics, dialectal behavioral therapy, which is the idea that two opposing truths can be held at once. I can practice radical acceptance, right? Not needing to change things. And I can seek change, right? So on one side of the coin is acceptance. On the other side of the coin is change. That's DBT in a nutshell. It's this idea that it's not an or, it's an and. That kind of leaves a lot of room for grayness and ambivalence and bouncing in between and doing this, but that's what works. And so geography or the feeling or sense of home is kind of both.
Yeah. So Chris, thank you for sharing that bold move for you because you have so many. And I encourage everyone to take a deeper dive into your background and go listen to other podcasts because your stories are really incredible all around. Reflecting back on younger Chris, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Something around limits or finitude. Something around, I mean, the truth is I wouldn't change a single thing of what 18-year-old Chris was doing, both the insecurities, imposter, whatever. I mean, 18-year-old Chris was truly limitless. I had unlimited energy and I had a bank of pent up curiosity. Like to give you context, they put me on Adderall at the age of 5. ADHD was this whole like new revolution in the 80s and like late 80s. And so these doctors put me on massively high dosages, obscenely high dosages at the age of 5 until the age of 20, 15 years on amphetamines. So I physically don't remember 98% of my childhood. It's just the memory's not there. It's just the brain doesn't I need to go to like psychedelic therapies, clinics to like remember. Right. So that's like that whole thing. And so 18-year-old Chris was kind of like super confused, just had a billion questions that I hadn't asked, had this unlimited energy source, and was going away to college for the first time, trying to figure out how to like invent myself for the first time ever. And so definitely got myself into 1,000 different things. But what would I say to that guy? Because I'm glad I did those things. I don't know. I just, yeah, maybe follow your curiosity
Yeah.
and like never be ashamed about your curiosity. I think a lot of people, or I can only speak from my standpoint, I will have a curiosity about something and then wait years to have the courage to be curious about it. And I think that is the root of a lot of anger or shame or built up interpersonal resentment. And that's my choice, not other people's choices. That's my thing. I think I'd say to that kid, just, yeah, go be unabashedly curious.
I mean, Chris, when you say be curious and you said you asked great questions and that was brought to the surface for you, I can attest to you asked some of the best questions. For everyone out there, before we even started recording this episode, Chris just kept being more and more curious about me. And you just had me even going deeper and deeper and deeper. And that is, you have a gift, the gift of curiosity, and that is special.
There are positives and negatives to my inquisition. I say I'm a bad listener. I ask in order to then provide a strategy instead of ask to help others feel seen. That's definitely caused me friction in relationships before, but in its limited use case, it's a superpower.
Yeah. Do you feel that you've been able to really now listen more and help people be seen? Or is that something that's a daily struggle for you?
Daily struggle for sure. For sure. Oh, yeah. Every day I struggle with that. That's for sure.
I appreciate your honesty with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. For anybody who's following this, that's thinking that I'm like some successful, put together attitude of gratitude, built a company kind of, no way. I'm as broken as the day I started this thing. Gratitude does not work on me. I'm a horrible listener. I am a imposter and a half. I am nervous about charging the dollar amount I'm worth. Every part of that I face every single day.
I would never know, Chris.
I just have a couple more tools in my toolbox to get me through it when it does come up. I do not believe I will ever be cured of all my isms, but I just have a little bit more tools in my toolbox to say, this is actually probably going to lead to something good if I harness it right. Like this imposter syndrome that I feel now, address it, drive conscious awareness to it, process it, turn it into a story, use that to attract your next client.
Right.
Life is a series of that shit.
You're right. We all can be impacted by imposter syndrome. I just went through it myself. I just heard a bunch of leaders last week, female leaders, talk about how they fight it daily. And to hear you say it,
I'm coaching a female entrepreneur right now that makes millions per year in an online education company outside of being one of the top 10 people in her craft in the world at something.
Yeah. Right.
Which I won't get into more context because then you can just Google it and find the crossovers. But she's got a mindset issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have a strategy issue. I'm not in the online education space, but she's got a mindset issue. And I looked at her on our last coaching call last week, our most recent coaching call before Burning Man. I didn't go, she went. But I looked at her and I said, here's the great opportunity you have, friend. The stuff that attracted so much income and community in your past and the content that you got to create with your educational program and everything. Now that you've had these last maybe 8 to 10 months, as she says, of like imposter, slowness, reset, scarcity, fixed mindset, all this kind of stuff, ingratitude, all this stuff, I said, great. That's the best place to write tomorrow's version of content from you being an imposter, insecure, imperfect, vulnerable thought leader tomorrow as you go off into launching next year's program will actually inspire you to create better content than you created for the last 4 years when you were on top of the world with, So she's
Yes.
now going to be able to like use that vulnerability, that imposter syndrome, that fixed mindset, that scarcity as like
Hmm.
stories to attract in the sales process. And then actual stories in the content creation process as she's building out the modules that she's selling in the course.
Yeah.
And this is a good thing, folks. Nobody wants to buy from a perfect person.
No.
They want to buy from someone who's in the trenches with them. It doesn't pretend like they're perfect, admits they're imperfect. That creates connection. But here's the solution.
Yeah, for sure, Chris.
Yeah.
And reflecting on our conversation today, and there's so many takeaways, and especially I'm in the medical device space. It's a very intense environment, and we are always going 1,000 miles per hour. And so to hear you talk about that, you can live in that energy, but you can also live in the energy where you bring yourself back down,
Yeah.
right? That you can have those moments of recovery. It's important. Those two worlds can collide in
I
either.
mean, yeah, from a medical device or from a sales perspective or leadership perspective in general, if you're trying to sell something and you're running too fast, you're running faster than the pace of the people you're trying to sell to,
Yes.
you need to slow down to meet them where they are. Step number one in sales, meet your people where they are, slow down and connect. Okay. Number
Yes.
two, you're building something out there and you're running too fast, you don't let the creative thoughts catch up. You need to actually slow down to actually let stuff you're trying to process catch up.
Yes.
That's a good idea. Bill Gates used to do that for weeks on end. They were called think weeks. Okay,
Yeah.
let's learn from the richest guy on the planet. Anyway, so speed, people think the faster I go, the more successful I will be. No, there's a great paradox. The opportunities to slow down, to pause, connect, let the good thoughts catch up, to regain clarity and control and realize which path you're supposed to be on. Then you can go fast. Then, without burning people out. And so that's our whole, when we deliver keynotes, we like to teach people a 5-part framework to give them a set of tools to
Hmm.
take action tomorrow on what they learned today or were inspired in our story today. It's an acronym, PASTA, because PASTA is our whole shtick. P stands for pause, A ask, S savor, T take action, A appreciate. I won't go into it, but the P of pause is very important. Help people slow down in order to speed up. That's it. Slow down and take your own personal time and slow down and create together time so that you can then speed up. Look, we live in right the age of AI, and I'm now doing entire offsites, retreats, and workshops on this duality. Okay, that in order to speed up through AI, first you have to slow down as a human. And so now we're selling, me and some partners are selling these 2-day corporate offsites where the first day is slow down, the second day is speed up. The first day is
Yeah.
slow down to pause and ask the good questions and figure out what's working so that you can shift what's not and figure out what you're going to take action on that's bold, empathetic, collaborative, and focused. Have a little bit of gratitude come into that so that on the second day, you can focus on what are the actions we need to do that are filled with broader future narratives, big, massive change transformation that's filled with learning agility and boldness, all this kind of stuff. Boom, right? So both are important. It's not an or anymore.
No, I love it, Chris.
The
I
land
can
of
feel
slow
it. I
food
can
and
sense it.
it's the land of slow food and fast cars. Teach people how to slow down to develop the meta skills of curiosity and clarity, connection, systems thinking, gratitude, so that you can then use those skills the next day to apply to very broad future thinking, massive senior level transformational ideas using
Yes.
AI. Both are needed. Both.
Both are needed. We need to embrace both. Chris, the other thing, again, is just leaning into that curiosity that you do so well. We all need to keep that at the forefront.
Of
Curiosity is key to life.
course. Here's the truth. And Jane Frazier, the CEO of one of our clients, City, that we've done a lot of work with, Jane Frazier said it best. Leaders these days, in the age of AI, leaders don't have to have the right answers anymore. Leaders have to have the best questions.
Yes,
Okay.
I like that.
So imagine you're a leader watching this, whether you're in healthcare or you're a middle America mom or you're just whatever you're doing. Here's the truth: you're not the smartest sentient being on the planet anymore. Chat GPT 4 passed the Turing test.
It's true.
You were all raised in the knowledge economy. Right? 1 billion knowledge workers, $1.7 trillion in student debt was all built on the premise that we get paid to know something, right? That's collapsing.
Yeah.
It's already in the collapse.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, you won't get paid to know things. You will get paid for your ability to be curious, ask good questions, build relationships, demonstrate empathy and emotional intelligence, and adequately resolve conflict and negotiate. And that's what the future is. And so if you're not curious, you're being left behind. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Literally that simple.
Chris, this has been such a amazing, impactful conversation. What would you like to leave everyone with today?
Y'all, the world's in a pretty volatile, uncertain, chaotic, and anxious place. Loneliness is running rampant across our country, which is the equivalent of reduction of lifespan of smoking about 15 cigarettes a day. And it's impacting your local community. It's impacting the places you work. It's impacting your own family, whether you realize it or not. My invitation is host a dinner.
Yeah.
Like my legit invitation is pick a date 6 weeks from today, invite 6 to 10 people over for dinner. Halfway through that dinner, maybe at 7:47 p.m., ask them our gratitude question. If you could give credit or thanks to one person in your life that you don't give enough credit or thanks to, or that you've never thought to thank, who would that be? And go around the table and just share stories and connect. This probably won't change the outcome of your life. It probably won't change the details of being fired from your job, losing the roof over your head, or whatever you're going through, but it'll change your perspective. When we change our perspective, we start to see the good rather than the bad. We start to see the opportunity versus what's been taken away. We start to gain agency. When we can get all these things, it gives us the hope and the positive mental attitude that tomorrow can be better than yesterday. It gives us a superpower, a great tool that we can all put in our back pocket. And that's gratitude. And if you do that, I promise you will climb out of whatever hole you're in faster than the hole you were in or climbed out of. And that's my hope. And if you want to find us online and say, hey, I'm hosting a dinner 6 weeks from now, maybe I'll FaceTime in and say hi to your people, give a few words of encouragement. It's been an honor to serve in that capacity this last decade. And I just think the dinner table can provide so much greatness in our world. We really need it. You can't hate someone that you just pass the bread to.
Yeah. Chris, that was beautiful. And your challenge is accepted. I'm going to take you up on that. I'm going to share with you my date. I cannot thank you enough for taking time to share your voice with my audience and to help inspire so many people to be a better version of themselves.
Thank you for having me, Courtney. It's a true pleasure to know you.
Oh, you too, Chris. And to everyone out there, go be bold, be confident, and be you. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in to Bold Moves, Confident Choices. Remember, the boldest moves come from trusting ourselves and taking action. If you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or share with someone who needs a little extra boost to boldness. Until next time, be bold, be confident, be you. Thanks.